Go.
Good evening and welcome to the Townsend Housing Authority meeting. It is 7:16 on Wednesday, July 10th, 2019. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Natalie Call.
Laura Schifrin.
Chaz Sexton-Duranian. This meeting is being recorded and there is no one else recording. And I'd like to start the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'd like to thank our veterans and all those who have served the country. Thank you very much for your service. Chairman's additions, deletions to agenda unforeseen prior to 48 hours of this meeting. I do not have anything. Do you have anything?
Yeah, there is something I'd like to discuss. I mean, you have under 1.5 unforeseen
Okay.
stuff.
Where did you want me to?
Right, I can do it under my report.
You can do it either or. Whatever you'd like.
Let me just see.
Unless you, we can add.
Oh, no, it's on the agenda. I can speak later.
Okay.
The only thing I would add or let the community know is that MRPC is having an executive board meeting tomorrow, and it's a review of the executive officer, and I'll be attending that.
Okay. Anything else, Natalie? No? Chairman's or the housing representative update and report. I don't really have anything. The only things that I do have is already on the agenda. So we can just continue on with the agenda. And then there's the vice chair's update and 1.7, Lori.
Just what I just said.
Okay. Number 2, under appointments, general members.
Actually, I could add something.
Okay,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I do that for effect. So, I think I'd like to update the Housing Authority on the Town Properties Committee.
Okay.
We've had 2 meetings, and the last meeting we actually looked and discussed weeding down the properties. We found ourselves discussing or rehashing properties that we already discussed, and in an effort to make our discussion more valuable, Vicki is going to eliminate all of the conservation land, all of the open space land, all of the state-owned land, all of the municipal buildings that are occupied. So basically what we came down to was there was only one town-owned building, and that is the old library that is not being utilized.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's no other building. So, yeah. So, because, well, I shouldn't, not totally. So, because we had discussed the old school. We had discussed that another town had used a school, an old school, and renovated that and turned that into housing, affordable housing, that the town managed, which would fall into play with some of what we would like to see done in the future, if there is a future. So, since that is the only one, we also discussed the Harbor Fire Station and how that needs work, but Kim Craven attended our meeting, and how that would play into some of our economic development if we could get grant money for the fire station and maybe turn that into a cafe, something where it's used if the fire department's not using it. And we also discussed the building across that used to be the old fire station. The brick building is still there, and they use it just to store things. So maybe revitalizing that.
Oh, the one that's over here? Okay.
So obviously that would be in conjunction with the fire department, but I mean there are possibilities, for the town to have little things. You know, when I started working with Central Plaza, I did a Facebook survey kind of thing, and a lot of people, actually hundreds of people from town answered that as to what they would see, what they would like to see come into town. So there's all kinds of ideas that people would like to see come into town, so if we could somehow get that publicized and out to small businesses, and it's not that we are increasing the buildings that we have or looking to increase the use of our septic systems or our wells, but mainly to utilize what's already here instead of having empty storefronts, you know, or empty buildings, or just storing things.
I'm
in
going to
buildings.
throw this out to you if you want to throw that back out too. I mean, I have spoken actually in not in context of business, but we have talked about the Harbor Church, I mean the Harbor Fire Station, only because I have property that's next to there.
Right.
And there is interest for the Historic Commission, I think, to be able to see what they can do to raise money they want to repaint it. There's some structural work that they want to do as well. So I think if you guys can ask them as well to help out. I know that there may be a couple of members that be willing to help.
That's a good idea, because we have one position, a general member position was filled for the town properties, and there's another position available for a general member. They can be from anywhere. Conservation is still
They're appointing someone tonight.
Oh, great. From their committee or outside?
I don't know.
Okay. So Conservation has one, because they had a resignation, they have one that they can appoint.
Okay.
And there's still a general member position available, and that would be great if somebody from the Historic Commission would come to that. Okay.
And I think that would dovetail into the Historic
Absolutely.
Society as well, is you know, there are a couple of members, to my knowledge, that are on both. That would, you know, they have some great ideas, but it's the funding portion that has been, they're not really familiar with the procedure, and I had been talking to somebody about how to go through, you know, if there is money that you need to raise. We talked about warrant articles and all of that kind of stuff, but this kind of goes right in line with
Yeah, that's a good idea. Would you mind reaching out to them and
Yep.
asking them?
I could do that.
Telling them that we have a position available, and our next meeting is, I think it's the 23rd of July.
July 23rd, so that's Tuesday.
Yeah, I think so. If it isn't, I'll let you know. Like I said,
Okay.
I know my plan, but Vicki knows.
Okay.
And, well, actually, all I have to do is look up my minutes, because the draft of those minutes are already done, and I can let you know.
But this also
That's a
dovetails
great idea.
with what we've been talking about for 4 years now, about how getting the boards to be able to communicate.
Right.
I think that's a great idea, too.
So that's, so the next time we meet, it's going to, what we're going to be looking at is only properties that the town owns that are feasible.
Okay.
Feasible to build on or feasible to renovate. And that should narrow it down succinctly, because once you take out the open space and conservation, a lot of those 6 pages, you know, of properties are gone.
Turn to a half a page.
Yeah, they're gone. So at least once they all get eliminated, then we know what we're down to. Then we know if there's anything at all, you know, that we can do, or if there's nothing. And then, I mean, if there's truly nothing, I think the idea is whatever's left, the Town Properties Committee will make a recommendation on each one of those properties to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. I think
And then that
that's,
can go to whatever other committee that, you know, it would go to.
well, I'm very, very pleased with them
Yeah, it was
meeting
exciting.
and
Yeah,
do.
no, we had a great
and-
conversation.
And as usual, I'm all for the volunteers, because that's what makes the town run, you know? The people that are doing all the hard work, you know, I appreciate everything that everyone's doing. 2.1 is general member seat vacancy. Now, we've submitted you submitted the thing to town clerk, and they've posted it.
Correct.
And that's 10 days, we're waiting for 10 days, and today is the 10th. So does that
I
mean,
don't remember what day I posted it. Was the 1st or the 2nd?
I can't remember, I think it
It's
might
either
have been
the
the
1st or
second.
the 2nd. I think it
Because
was
I
the
talked to you on
2nd.
Tuesday,
Yes.
so that was the
So it would've
second.
been the 2nd.
Okay. So it needs to post for 10 days, is it 10 business days, or is it 10?
Just 10 days.
10.
When did we last meet? Didn't we discuss it when we last met?
Yes, but what had happened was the document was signed, or the resignation was signed.
Oh,
It was submitted, and,
It's a resignation thing.
yeah, we needed to, I was not aware that we needed to, town clerk said that it was a vacancy. They declared it a vacancy, and then I had to post for an open position, which I didn't know that we
That
had
was
to do.
Kevin's.
Yep.
Okay.
So then Lindsay took the ball from there and submitted the document to get it posted for the 10 days.
Okay, so
Right,
we
so-
can't address it tonight.
We can't address it at all. But if anybody is interested, there is a volunteer form that's on the town clerk on the website to fill it out if you are interested as an open member. There is only one position that's open now until we clear up the tenant member seat with the legal, the documentation through the state. Once we get that taken care of, then there is possibly another seat, but that won't open up for another month or so.
When's the next Board of Selectmen's meeting?
Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday.
The 16th.
Yeah.
So, can we meet, may I suggest, Mr. Chairman, if we could meet before planning on Monday at 6 PM? If, Natalie, are you available
On Monday?
Monday
Yes.
at 6?
6 o'clock?
Yep.
Planning meets at 6:30.
Okay.
So if we can meet at 6, we can address this issue
Okay.
and do it promptly. And then-
Can we actually ask to be on the agenda before we have that meeting?
Asked to be on.
Board of
The
Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen for an appointment before we actually vote on it? Or do we have to vote first and then?
No, we have to vote.
Yeah, that's right.
We just vote and we present it to them, and Lindsay, if you could let them know that we plan on having, since it's going to be past the 10 days, we're going to deal with whatever comes in, we're going to deal with it Monday at 6:30, and we'd like to present a nomination to them for the appointment
Yeah.
on Tuesday.
I can do that.
And
And hopefully
it
they
doesn't
can
have to
just
be a
add it
joint
on
meeting.
to the agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like a minute thing, and Chaz will be there.
yeah.
Sure.
Okay? And then we're not wasting a whole ton of time.
So then why don't we just formally put that our next meeting is going to be at 6 o'clock on
Monday.
July 15th?
Okay.
We could probably just use the Selectmen's Chambers. It's going to be available at 6:30. Beth is going to be setting up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're
We're
going to
only
be
going
in
to
there anyway.
be, 15 minutes, that's all we're going to use.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to approve minutes from today and make that,
Excuse me, did you want that meeting televised or taped?
planning is at 6:30, and I don't think, you have to ask Beth,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because our meeting wouldn't be long enough to have you go through the
Okay.
trouble.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, Hartley, you're so good.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you.
There was something I was going to say, and I totally...
No, but I mean, that takes care of the fact that this has been delayed because of the posting. so-
Right, so we'll be
And
able to...
we're going to be here anyway.
Yeah, right, we're going to be here anyway, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And then
Killing a
Tuesday,
few birds. you know.
Tuesday is the BOS.
We are volunteers.
And that's at 6.
Do you need me at either one of those?
Only if you want.
Only if you want, yeah.
6 PM is tough, so I just want to check.
That's what see, it's going to be
Okay.
tough for me, but
Yeah.
I have no problem getting out of the office early since all the time I've spent for the past week.
I think that's the best thing, right? Because of the 6:30.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. Okay, 2.2, land use coordinator. Yay, Lindsay. I put duties and responsibilities. That kind of like was formal. I didn't really mean it like that. We know what it is. I know that there is I had conversations with the town administrator in regards to the scope of what you do as the land use coordinator, and then the administrative duties are going to be separate, and he filled me in on the whole, what needs to be done as far as posting, and everybody has to figure that out. It is cumulative, like you and I had talked about, so if it's, I know that we're going to be needing probably more time at certain times during, especially when we're putting together the housing production plan and that kind of stuff. So I also talked to our liaison to the Board of Selectmen, and she's in agreement that we'll try to, she said that they're going to try to expedite as soon as possible. But I did reach out to Jim, and I talked to Jim about it, and he filled me in on what the scope of work is going to do. As far as other duties, you've jumped right in, and I appreciate all the help that you've done. You've done a lot of work already with working for the housing production plan. The other main thing that we're going to be needing to really jump on rather shortly is what you and I discussed in regards to the for the feasibility study for Dudley. So I was really kind of hoping that we would have a full board so that we could discuss and figure out who was going to do what in regards to that. I still need to have conversations with others in regards to where it's at. What do you need from us as far as these? Is it what you had emailed me in regards to the scope of duties that we're looking for?
Yeah, we need to come up with a scope of services
Okay.
so that we can solicit some quotes.
Okay. We did talk about the one that you had put in the email. Was there or was there not two other organizations that were also solicited at the same time by the Master Plan Committee? Do you remember?
One of them was MRPC.
And we have a quote from them.
Yes, and then I don't remember the name of the other one.
Okay.
There was a third.
I've heard that, and I don't really know formally what it's called.
It was UMass, sorry.
Okay.
Oh. That'd be interesting.
UMass as far as the college is concerned?
Yes.
Oh, good. Because you suggested what you said, or...
Yeah, I mean, I think utilizing, seniors or grad students who are looking to do a paper kind of thing are probably our best avenues, because you're looking for the young mind, They're not looking for our minds. So, but because we're looking for the future and what we need for this. I think that's a great opportunity for somebody who maybe even wants to get into municipal type of government or economics.
For planning.
Yeah,
Planning.
any college that has a planning department or
Yeah.
planning.
I might suggest Wentworth, too. You
Yeah,
might
that
be
would
able
be
to
good.
find
Conway School?
I went to school at Wentworth.
Conway
Did you
is-
really?
Yeah.
Conway's
You're a
what I
Wentworth
wanted
grad?
to get.
If you need a
Finally.
So is that someone you'd like to possibly, Conway School? I did speak with
Talk to Lance.
somebody, okay, because I know there were some issues with
We're sorry we didn't stay with them.
with something about that, but I actually spoke with a woman who represents Conway School after the fact, and we kind of discussed that, and they were she still wanted to do work for Townsend and was really enthusiastic about
I think there was something about timing, and they may have thought that some of it was more than what they had expected to do, and as it's turned out, it's taken way longer anyway. We could have had them, for that whole time. Yeah, I think any of the colleges, but Conway did win out when planning, looked at a consultant for the master plan. Okay. I'll just voice my opinion, if nothing else, on what has finally happened with this land use coordinator position, which is the position that we know. What position do you hold? What is your title?
Land use coordinator.
It is. Was that something else? What was your job description?
It was like the job description's like 3 pages long. So,
Okay.
very lengthy.
Okay.
So does this have to do with the fact that it was like posted, or it was listed as administrator in the budget? Is that what you're referencing?
Something else too. But let me just say this. What it was before, more than 3 years ago, and let's go back to the 2016 annual report that was written by Karen Chapman, who was the land use coordinator. All the reports fell under, all the departments fell under the coordinator, which included town properties, Townsend Housing Authority, planning, conservation. All of those reports came under land use coordinator, and it makes sense, right? So I understand that this posting for this assistant that was for 5 hours, and this is, I don't know if this is just logistics or, the town administrator style of how he does things, but our understanding was that the land use coordinator, this 5 hours a week was hypothetical. It was only to get a budget. This is what was said to us by the selectmen, by our liaison, and understood when we were in front of the Board of Selectmen, that we needed to put a line item in, and we needed to say it was an average of 5 hours a week. We don't need you 5 hours a week. It might be an hour a month until we're in a project. Okay? But we needed the funding for when we're in a project. It falls under, sometimes you're busier with conservation. Sometimes, planning has a staff, so you work together, You're the staff, you've taken this on as conservation agent. So you're doing that, you're doing planning. You're the staff for planning. We used to have conservation and I forget who the agent was then, but we had Jeannie Hollows was planning, Karen was the coordinator, and then we had a conservation one. So planning and zoning's always been together.
Well, no, I believe Karen Chapman did zoning. Jeannie did planning.
Yes, she
Karen
did.
Chapman, not
yeah.
as land use coordinator, and Jeannie Hollows and Karen Chapman split land use coordinator position. And Leslie...
Yes, there was a co after
Yes.
Kathy Arujo. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I know it's been a little bit different, but I think with this, in terms of, for if you're needing somebody for a project, I think like budget-wise, you can't just like in the middle of the year say, oh, now I need somebody, or for technical support, or,
Right.
I mean, like for doing minutes or whatnot. So it was my understanding that the Housing Authority was looking for somebody to do the day in and day out, as far as like filing, doing the meeting minutes, posting the agenda, and that
There's
is
not
what...
much of that. There isn't much of that.
Right now.
Right now. And the reason why we were so inundated was because we lost somebody for 3 years, and we had a lot of open meeting law violations that we had to contend with, and we were looking at, I was looking at more than 40 hours of my own
Sure.
time to do
I was too.
and so wasn't Chaz. So we were really inundated by our obligations. And when you have a staff person, that kind of keeps you out of it, kind of thing. So the actual workings of it, like when I was handed the privilege of being the chair of town properties. So I sit there with my laptop and I do the minutes right when we're doing the meeting. It's not a big thing, and we don't want to make it a big thing. But outside of the committee work, when we go into project, that's what we needed the money for. Yes, we may need the hour a month. If we're only meeting once or twice a month, It's not a lot on a staff person, okay? So that money was for when we go into project and need research done and need to put out to bid and, that kind of thing. Or arrange for, I've been doing it, but arrange for Sheila Harrington to come in, arrange for some other people to come and sit before us and have a meeting with them, and discussion. That's what the coordinator, did.
Correct.
And then also your input on, like we just discussed.
Yeah, it's valuable.
Historic Society has a value with town properties, okay? So, I mean, we just came up with that, but that's something that a staff person would do too. Like Vicki was the one that suggested, let's eliminate the open space. And then it got into let's eliminate this and let's eliminate that because we can't do anything with it on town properties. And it's really important for zoning, planning, town properties, the building inspector, conservation, town properties to all be talking together because we're all working.
We all have the same goal.
We all have the same goal, so we need to communicate. We can't keep it from, somebody else. So my concern is, supposedly this was posted in the town hall and looking for somebody who wanted to add 5 hours, and somebody did approach me, and I looked at it and I said, it's really not. We're not really giving somebody 5 hours a week. We're just not. We don't have 5 hours to give somebody.
But my understanding is that is just a formality.
Yeah, but then if we need somebody out for 20 hours and they're a 5-hour work person, that's not going to work. That's why it comes under the land use coordinator. Don't you go through ebbs and flows? Even in conservation,
Yes. Yep.
In zoning.
You have busier times than others, yes.
Yeah.
Well, my question to
Just
you
like
would be
planning.
this: whoever it says that they wanted to be able to do this, that would technically, who would they be not reporting to? But you know what I mean? Where is the?
I was of the understanding that it was you. I thought it was the land use coordinator that was going to be doing, we were not going to be going out for another person to do 5 hours a week. That's not what we were going to do.
I don't know.
That's Jim's
what that-
idea.
Yeah.
That's not ours.
That's all I knew is that it was for like an admin position. But of course, I'm going to help out with any, if it
No,
comes
you
to
have.
grants and all that stuff. I guess my understanding was that the board was looking for somebody to do more of the day-to-day, like getting the mail and doing the minutes and posting the agenda. And I believe that's what the 5 hours were allotted for. That's all my understanding of it.
But the 5 hours was hypothetical. Am I not correct?
Yeah.
There's no way somebody would spend 5 hours a week on getting the mail, doing an agenda, and minutes
For one meeting a month.
for one meeting a month. There's no way. But the work comes in.
I'll give you a for instance. I wrote a grant 2 years ago, was it? 3 years ago. I wrote a grant. Took me probably, I'd say a good 30 hours to put it all together. It took me almost 50 hours to make copies, mail it out, get all of that kind of stuff. In that one thing, it would have been probably 10 administrative hours that we would have spent, and we didn't use any administrative hours probably 2 or 3 months before that. You know what I mean? So it's going to be all at once. And my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, from the last email that I got was that it is, that is a formality.
Is that your understanding?
That was my understanding. I mean, you have to budget so many hours.
Yep.
So this is
for
only a
whatnot.
formality, it's not going to affect what we need as a board. So
No.
if we only need you 2 hours one month, 2 hours another month, and then in comes the influx of we've got our project going. Okay, for an example, when we have MRPC does that public forum, and we have our roundtables.
Yep.
Yep, I'll be available to help out
Okay.
for
Yeah.
whatever it is, and that's...
This is separate from, this is just the administrative stuff.
But Lindsay is going to be working with us with all of the,
Yeah.
it was called, I forget how he worded it, but the higher tier.
Just doing more, like if you needed grant writing or setting up and working with MRPC, soliciting quotes. It's more, I'm going to be there for all
The
of that
higher
stuff.
level
I
stuff
think
and not the administrative stuff.
Correct. So I don't know what the discussion that you had between the Board of Selectmen and the town administrator as far as what your needs were, but my understanding was your board was looking for somebody to do administrative minutes, post the agenda, and
On
that...
top of the land use work.
Okay, so as land use coordinator, Townsend Housing Authority and our affordable housing projects come under you.
Yes.
Yes, all of
Yes.
that. This is just this minutes and just administrative stuff that we would need. Mailings, you know, for instance, I went to Lindsay and said, can you check to see if we can get into the water bill for the mailing? And she said, yes, this is the date that you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
do. Then we would talk to the
We've done that
administrator.
before.
Right, and we would say to whoever is assigned the administrative, we need to get this flyer into blah, 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 and then they would take care of all of that. That would free Lindsay up to be able to work the RFPs and whatever else that we need to do.
Okay, so
Am
then-
that's what I'm understanding.
Correct, that was my understanding as
Okay.
well. So I guess if you don't need an admin position, and you don't feel that there is a need for it, then you could have that discussion with the town administrator.
No,
and
I
the
want
Board
that
of Selectmen.
admin position.
Okay, so, let's say we get somebody in-house that says they're gonna give Housing Authority 5 hours a week, but we don't have 5 hours worth of work. Can that person help Lindsay?
Help me with,
Anything you need. Any other project, planning, zoning, conservation. I want to add
Yeah, I know.
5 hours to our tax roll,
Mhm.
okay, to somebody when, I mean, I work admin every day. I do that, okay? So I don't see 5 hours a week. I know that we were concerned about having a budget.
Yep.
Okay? So I don't want...
We actually asked for
And
more.
actually, you know, that person could probably work on our filing and stuff. I mean, there's probably work that could be done for catch-up.
There's a lot of to go through
Yeah. And maybe
the old
find
files.
things and help with the organization of maybe the future kind of thing.
Yep.
All right.
so, or even if you wanted to adjust it to 3 hours a week, or, you know, maybe you could have that discussion if you felt that 3 hours might be a little bit better.
I see.
than the
I
5.
after talking with Lindsay and then after talking to the town administrator, it was. I think we have like the basic understanding, but there's kind of differences to it. My understanding is that Lindsay is going to be working with us too in the capacity of helping us with maps if we need it, GIS services and all that kind of stuff. She's going to help us with the RFPs for, those higher level
Which all the
duties.
departments should be using.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And
Planning, housing.
Exactly.
Properties,
And then
all of us.
our minutes, our agendas, if we need a memo sent out to the town or we need, whatever, the administrative stuff, will be then that particular person. Which
Okay.
it's adding to, it's not taking away.
Okay.
No, it's definitely not taking,
It's-
you're
it's
getting an extra,
extra.
instead of the board doing their own minutes and all that, like some of the others do.
Yeah.
You're going to have, it's a
That's
position
gonna be
just
free.
for that.
Okay.
So it's
My-
certainly not taking away, it is
Right.
definitely.
My only question would be, is this cumulative, meaning that if we don't use the 5 hours this week, can we use 10 hours next week if we needed it?
Within the same pay period, you can. However, if you're adding to somebody's hours, like if it's a
I don't-
staff member who's already
Yeah.
here, I don't know what their hours are, but it's probably easier for them to just add 5 each week as opposed to
Right.
10 onto
But if we have a
one.
plan of like history,
Yep.
that is something that person could
Because
work
that's
on.
what we would like to do, and that's part of the reason why we wanted to put the budget in, is that there's a lot of the old files from the other land use coordinators that need to be updated. I'll give you, for instance, the Atwood Acres deed. All that paperwork is not together. It's just kind of shoved in a file cabinet, and we need to have that straightened
Right.
out and looked at, put together, because when we come to the point where we're actually wanting to do some work, and we're going to have the land court look at this, we're going to have those documents, a lot of those documents. So I'd like to have that all ready for us to grab. I mean, as it is now, actually Sheila Harrington has taken a lot of it and digitized it for us, so we have it that we can email back and forth. But that's the kind of stuff that we would need. So I think...
And in that case, that would be perfect to have somebody to get a system and get it all organized.
Okay.
All right?
I'm glad I came in. I'm glad you were here, because I was about to quit everything.
Oh, no.
I really was. So, because there's too many boards that are intertwined, and there's a lot of volunteer hours that are donated to trying to get something done, rather than keep spinning our wheels. So I appreciate you being here, and I think that there is a good person then that would, within Town Hall, that would take that position, and I think she'd work great along with you.
Yeah, and I had a conversation with Lindsay on Tuesday, and then I've had some back and forth emails, and then finally, I think we're kind of sort of on we're all speaking different languages, but we're all on the same page.
Okay.
So I'm very happy with where we're at right now.
Can we have that on Monday's agenda as well? We'll see if we can't get that person to put their application in before, maybe tomorrow.
Well, we don't think we have anything to do with that, do we? That's something that the town administrator would take care of.
Exactly. This has been posted how long now?
So yesterday I put it up?
Oh, this? The job position for
Yes.
administrator?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So why did that take that long?
Well, the position wasn't funded until the first of the year,
Right.
which was
got
last.
it.
So, and
it's
then
only
we
the
had the holiday week, and
Okay.
so
I apologize. I get it now. July 1st, July 4th. Yeah, I got it. So just yesterday.
for town hall, that's
Pretty good. Considering town hall was closed both Thursday and Friday last week,
Oh,
Yes.
so
I don't know, I don't get days off.
that's all right.
All right.
I appreciate you, Lori.
All right, Okay.
So we're all good, and I'm very pleased with how this is all turning out. So I'm good to go. Work session 3.1 Dudley Road feasibility study, delegation of duties. We haven't really delved into that yet. Lindsay, I would like to be able to. You come in on the later hours on Tuesdays.
Sometimes, yes. I have
Okay.
been for master plan.
Would
I certainly can.
I mean, I have no problem if we could set a time, just for right now, like once a month, that I come in at that time, that 6 o'clock time, that you and I can at least have a half an hour or an hour, so that we can arrange to, I guess, basically prioritize what we want to do. I want to find out exactly what you need for the feasibility, so that when we have the next meeting, I can just go right through and we can figure out what we need. Or I can email out to the rest of the board, have them look at it, and then bring back suggestions, so that when we do discuss, we don't have to waste the time here to get it all done. I would like to be able to get all that stuff in by the end of the month, or the first week in August, if we could. So you've already, what times are you in already for July?
So I will be here on the 23rd, Tuesday, but I can come, it doesn't matter, whatever works for you.
Okay. Well, here's my thought. I'm going to come in next Tuesday for the Board of Selectmen meeting anyway. So can we meet after that?
Sure.
Like a half an hour?
At what time?
Depending upon where they put us on the agenda.
Okay.
Because they're going to do I would assume, business that comes up before 48 hours, so we would...
Are you looking, you mean putting you on the agenda as far as the appointment?
Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, I mean, that appointment's going to be 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 tops.
Sure.
So then we can talk after that. And that way we can organize what we need to do so that I can get everything done, so that by our next meeting after that, which we'll decide towards the end of this meeting, then we'll be able to.
We can have it something drafted so I can get it out there.
Yep. Yep. That's my plan anyway. I hope.
And Monday I am meeting in Winchendon with, I remember I just talked to you about that.
Yep.
So that'll be Monday. So that'll be good because I'll be able to let you know what I find out.
Good. Okay.
Thursday.
Good, good. And that's not on the agenda, so we
What's
can't
in
talk
Winchendon?
about it. We'll talk about it in a second. 3.2, housing production plan, the public forum. There was a conflict on the date, and it was for, Lindsay, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the Historic Society
Correct.
that is having a function on that same
On
day
the- Yes, right on the common.
on the Common.
By the date you meant when we were going to do our forum?
Yeah, the
Yes.
September.
14.
Would that be a?
I think that's bad.
conflict.
I do, because if I remember the people that came and sat at the round tables and participated, there were a lot of seasoned residents.
That was Karen Clement made the same well, she just felt that those who were going to be at the historical, they're going to want to be there as well, and it's the same
I believe
time.
that. I do.
I appreciate your politically correctness there. But I was there too, so I guess I'm seasoned as
I was
well.
there too.
I know.
But I'm thinking, as I picture the people that were there,
And there was a lot of good feedback too.
and there was a lot of
so-
good feedback, so those are definitely people that we wouldn't want to leave out. Can I ask what's the time of that function?
I believe that was either 10 to 2 or 10 to 4, and the same, we had scheduled 10 to 2.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking of the week afterwards.
So there,
Or did you look for options when you found out that it was bad?
Well, we weren't, I told Lindsay that I wanted to bring it in front of everybody before I made it, I had her look any further. Because if
No,
we're...
I think that's a concern.
Okay, so,
so they have their Truckapalooza, I believe that's on the 21st, so I think the 28th may be available.
okay. So it would be the 28th afterwards.
September 28th?
I can check that again, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good date. I'm trying to think, I want to think it was October last time. It's not a good date?
I'm getting back to North Carolina that day.
On the 28th?
Yes, I'm gone from the 21st to the 28th, North Carolina.
Then it would be October 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see what their availability is for early October.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good with that.
Okay.
Okay.
The 5th or the 12th?
Yeah. Holiday.
Oh, it's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday of Columbus.
Okay. That's fine.
We'd be up here neck and cheeseburgers or something?
Oh, okay.
All
I
right.
hope not. Be fine.
So if you can let me know, and then I'll let the board know, or vice versa, whatever you want to do is either or. And then, can you let Sean know too at MRPC,
Yes.
please and thank you? I would assume he's our point person that we're working with on that, right? Good. I like Sean. 3.3, correspondence, clerk's announcements. Do you have any clerk's announcements today?
That's all I have.
Just these?
Yeah, that's all.
I think we should frame this, Lori. This is our first expense control report for the Housing Authority. Our actual expenditures is 0. But there it is in black and white.
Oh, we have a budget.
We have a budget.
Do we have?
We don't
okay.
have enough to afford fireworks or a celebration or anything, but we do have,
No, but I'm glad to see that we do have some training and we have some mileage.
Yep.
So,
Yep, for
in
that.
the training, does that, I wonder if we can get meeting expense? Like, some of those seminars, well, that might be considered training. You went to a seminar.
Yep, if you pay for it, and then you certainly can.
Get reimbursed for mileage in there. Okay.
Where was,
That's
we
awesome.
did, where did we go? It was Reading or?
They have been in the past.
Yeah.
They just took it out of whatever budget it was at that time.
But now we have a budget, so it
Yeah.
can come directly out of there. But with your big master book that you got,
I have it at home.
you're also on their email list, I would assume?
I am.
So when those seminars come up, when they send you that, if you could print those off and bring them in for a meeting, and then we can,
Decide who's going to go
yeah.
and when.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing too, do you have on, like in your notes, so that it's not forgotten or become an oversight, the Dudley Road property being on the next warrant for the next special town meeting? Because it was supposed to be on the annual, and the Board of Selectmen's meeting we were at, it was placed, and then the attorney approved it, and then there was an oversight, and it never ended up at town meeting.
Yeah, we
Okay.
actually had it approved the day after it was due.
Okay, so we'll make sure that that's on there.
Yeah. And that's already gone through the process, so, and I'm sure that the town administrator knows that that just should be able to be placed with that, as is. It's been approved. And the last piece of business is this looks like a zoning board of appeals request for a special permit. And the notice is given that a special permit under Townsend zoning bylaw sections 145-26, 145-32, and 145-65 has been granted. This is for a construction of a barn and covered patio within the 15-foot side yard setback on Barker Hill Road. And I guess this is really just for our information. So,
It's nothing for us to vote on.
yeah, to vote on. So as far as that, and I don't have anything else unless you have anything else in regards to correspondence or...
No, only that I would ask if there's any high school student or college student that would like to do videography and learn a little bit more about that. Hartley would be happy to have an assistant, so we will keep putting that out there.
Okay.
Thank you, Hartley.
I also have, now, you're going to be doing the website, or would this administrative person be doing the website, do you
The
know?
administrative person would be, but I can help out, do, whatever.
Okay, until that
Sure.
comes. Okay, my thoughts on the matter is that we do need some updates in regards to minutes and all of that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of things for the future, and I'd much rather kind of focus through you in regards to what we want.
Sure.
The board, we've talked about how we want that particular website set up, so, because you're going to be in town hall, and I'd like you to be kind of overseeing all of that,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. Okay? And you don't have to do the nitty-gritty, but I just would
No,
like
that's,
for you to...
yeah.
Okay?
And then just, when you have an admin as the position,
Yep.
they post the minutes on there and
Right.
Right.
whatnot, the agendas.
Right, but I'm saying as far as the other stuff, that's something that I'd like you to be able
Sure.
to oversee and make sure that the content gets checked and all of that.
So having said that, if you could pass along to the town clerk's office, I'm not sure who's giving out the information, but I am still receiving calls in reference to housing,
Okay.
affordable housing.
You
I've
are?
gotten 2 this week. Yep. So I understand
Where are they getting your number?
the town hall. I asked.
Okay.
So, at this point in time, Townsend doesn't manage any affordable housing. We may someday, but at this point in time, we don't have any. So to refer somebody looking for that, they probably should be referred back to either Atwood Acres or Townsend Woods to get put on their list, because the town doesn't have any. Now, I understand, because I'm in real estate, that they may have them called to see if I have something, because Townsend's rates are Cambridge's rates, because we're in Middlesex. So we tend to be a little bit higher, and so somebody who's looking for affordable housing might be able to afford what we have, you know, at the apartments and stuff. But I really think it would be better if anyone at Town Hall just sent them to Townsend Woods or Atwood Acres at this point.
I have a template that I send out when people, because I manage the housing email address. When I get requests like that, there's a template that I use in regards to the letter I send out, and in that there's an attachment that has telephone numbers for Atwood Acres, for Townsend Woods. There's also other affordable housing numbers that are there that are direct, as opposed to the number, your number. So
Yeah.
I'll send that to you if you can, you know, or I can actually copy Kathy on it too, if you want me to. Just so.
And that's something as well, the email that you receive, that would be going, that should go to the admin position, and they should start receiving that and taking care of the email and response.
Gladly.
Yes, because Jeannie used to do that.
Yeah.
Jeannie Hollows used to send out the template letters when we got requests for housing.
And we do get formal mailings where somebody would send in a complete application, and those we can't keep because it's
shredded.
proprietary information. So they'll either shred it or mail it back, one of the two, you know. And I think Karen was mailing them back in a larger envelope with a letter insert saying, because that's a lot of work that they have to compile with all of that. So if they can take that packet and send it to somebody else, I think that would be good. But I can send you that if you want to pass it on to Town Hall. So as far as the meetings and stuff, I'm going to put 3.4. I'm going to put your foot to the fire, Natalie. When are we going to have those?
Do we have the minutes?
Which one am I missing?
3.1, 3.13,
Okay.
and 4.3.
Okay.
What's
I can
June
have those done
12th?
for you tomorrow and send to you via email.
Can you send it to, yeah, go ahead, send it to me.
I'll just send it to everybody.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
I'll do those tomorrow.
6.12, I wasn't really sure if we had that or not. I don't remember what we voted on last.
We have a meeting.
Harley, when was the last time you were with
We
us?
didn't meet that one.
Let me check my,
It was 6:12.
Was
I
it?
think it was 6:12.
We have a quorum now. We didn't have a
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin
Oh.
came in late.
Me?
Okay.
Kevin.
Kevin's.
Oh, Kevin, okay.
Okay.
We take turns. That's
Okay.
true, I remember that.
Yes, I have June 12th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we need minutes.
Which one was that we didn't have? A quorum.
I think it was the one before that.
It
Oh,
it was the one, and
okay.
I didn't put it on the list.
Okay.
So we need 3.1, 3.13, 4.3, and 6.12.
All right.
You can always reference all of those are on the YouTube.
Yep.
So you can reference
Right.
those for it.
I'll do that.
Piece of cake.
So I'm going to, when is our next meeting? Besides the 15th?
Yeah.
I'd like to change our Wednesday to a Thursday. Does anybody have issues with that?
No.
As long as it's not the first.
Right. It can't be the first Thursday, and the reason being is that we are going to be inviting some state officials in to help us out with our planning for our next phase, and Thursday is going to be a good day to be able to do that. Wednesdays, Sheila will be in session, so we are not going to be able to do that.
Okay,
So if you guys are all in agreement with that,
Yeah.
we can change our meeting day to Thursdays, and not the first of the month.
Okay.
So then I'll entertain whatever you guys want to do in August for a Thursday, what day you guys want. Except the 15th, it's a full moon.
The 8th? Sorry.
The 8th is good?
8/8.
Okay.
Okay.
August 8th.
What time? 7?
7.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 7 o'clock Thursday, August 8th.
Correct,
And you don't know which room yet?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'll do, just like I've done before, Hartley, once I know, I'll let you know, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
Outside of that,
Okay. No, I'll let you know. We really can't meet on that?
I was kidding.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Because you think you have something there? on the 8th?
I know I come back here, so I'm not here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll find out when I go to MRPC, because usually they're on the 1st, but if they don't have quorum, they might move it here, so I'll leave it like that, and I'll
Okay.
let you know if it's an issue.
Okay.
So August 8th is tentative.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
What's the other options? What-
15th. I love the full moon.
As long as it's not the
We'll all
22nd.
come out.
We're good.
The what?
As long as it's not the 22nd, we're good.
Okay, all right. No, it'll be the 8th or the 15th.
8th or the 15th.
Okay?
Okay.
But we'll go for the 8th for now
Yeah.
until we hear otherwise.
Okay.
Okay? And I'll entertain a motion for
Motion to
adjournment.
adjourn.
Second.
All
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.